man. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Hector Nilo, and welcome to another episode of the Bottom Line Podcast, where we learn, grow, and connect through topics about business, fashion, sports, and life in general. What's good, gentlemen? I am joined by Mr. Ian Lufitha, Joe Steiner, and the birthday boy, our favorite Pisces, Pastor Razvan, Intuneric.
What up, what up?
So,
Happy birthday.
Yeah, straight
I
up.
appreciate it.
Straight up.
Thanks, boys. It's been a long year. Like, last year at this time, everything locked down. It's been a nice year anniversary of COVID. Nice celebration. We got a nice little bottle here of champagne for us. We did a little sabrage. I think Joe put that in as the intro for the video. But yeah, I was telling the guys a little history on the sabraging. Napoleon used to come in after he was done a victory and just, instead of waiting to pop these bottles off, he used to take out his sabers. I've got my little mini saber down here, just staying ready. Got one of these ready to go. And
He stays strapped.
on any celebration, just got to keep it in the trunk just in case. Ready to go.
I celebrate birthdays.
Yeah.
And victories.
Victories. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We made it a year out of COVID.
Straight up.
It's a victory for all of us. How was this COVID year for you guys? What'd you guys do? How would you guys treat it? Was it a good year for you guys? I know for me it was a good year.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of, not my best years, but money-wise, probably one of the best years.
Yep.
How'd you guys do with the business? Everything closed. But you
Yeah.
guys were able to.
It's crazy because it was like the start of a new decade. I think
Yeah.
that was the craziest part of this whole situation. To be
Mhm.
honest, it was like the timing of it because I think everyone was trying to start the new decade off like well, so like a good foot forward.
Right.
But then COVID happened, and you're like, oh shit.
Well,
I can't.
2020 started off pretty fucked up too. Remember, like it was before COVID too. Like there was
Yeah.
COVID passed, like
Wildfires.
Yeah, World War
Smoky
III,
grapes.
Yeah, smoky grapes. There's a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah, that is
And-
true.
And then COVID hit, and then
The
kinda-
world just
Kinda
shut
derailed
down.
everything,
Man.
yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
I remember being cooped up in the crib a year ago, not knowing what the fuck was going on, what was happening with business,
Mm-hmm.
with just life in general, and I was just gaming all day, not giving a fuck
Yeah.
about anything really, man, for real. That's literally all it was.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see where we've kind of brought low end now, because we got to really work behind the scenes on a lot of things that we needed to organize, and COVID kind of was a blessing in disguise because it gave us time to kind of revisit our business plans, like what are we really trying to do here, you know what I'm saying, as a team, get our roles cemented and all that. It was beautiful.
Yep.
So even though things were shut down and maybe personally early in the year it was a little tough, but we got to kind of like just lock in here for a bit. Like online store, that was a big one,
Yeah, you guys were saying even before we started this, you got what, an order or two came in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's the goal of any business at that point. You're pretty much just automating it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a blessing to still
sure.
be open
Yep.
during these times, for real.
But yeah.
Oh, I gotta talk about my point. All right. Yeah, no. If you look at it like that, it's been a blessing in disguise. Like stocks got. If you're into stocks, you got a nice dip last March. You got a nice dip a couple months or a couple weeks ago. Like if you're into it and you wanted to, take some risks in COVID time, a lot of those risks they've been able to pay themselves off. And I don't know, like it was never fun for anybody to
No.
stay at home, but I found that I just saved so much more money just having everything kind of locked down.
That was huge.
Yeah. So
We're not popping no bottles.
yeah, yesterday going to the keg was like, I haven't done this in so long. Like sitting at a table,
Yeah.
opening a bottle, spending money on food and stuff like that. Like I've just been cooking for myself at home.
Yep.
I've become a pretty decent cook in the last year just because you've had to be like, and that's been the nice part of it. You become more self-reliant, right? Like you learn how to kind of do stuff for yourself. You got that time to yourself to kind of just think about your life, figure stuff out. And if you didn't do any of that in this year, like what were you really doing? Like you could have sat and spent the whole last year just watching TV, which is
TikToks.
TikToks, doing all that. Like, I feel like for the first 2 months of COVID, I literally just watched nothing but political stuff and, you know, just stuck to the TV. And then after everybody goes through one of those spells and it's like, what am I really doing? What value is this bringing to my life?
Life epiphany.
Yeah, exactly.
What is going on, G?
Yeah. Why am I still doing this, you know? Like, and then after that, it's like, okay, it doesn't really matter what's going on with politics as much, as long as you kind of just figure your own stuff out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, no, it's been a good year. You got to look at it with the good side, bad side. But I don't know. In general, been pretty decent. I'm pretty happy to see 27. Now.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Happy birthday again to Pastor Raz.
Grazie.
Dr. Raz.
Not a doctor. So what are we going to talk about today, boys?
The big topic we were going to talk about is time management. We talked about it earlier. Kind of ties into the COVID stuff as well.
Yeah, perfect.
And like how the year's been going for us. Me and Ian kind of got a big opportunity recently. I wouldn't say big, but kind of out of the blue almost. And it was very different from what we do here. It was like a nice job offer that either of us could have took. And looking back maybe like 2-3 years ago, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. Basically, the people that offered us a job were basically saw what we were doing here. Myself with marketing, Ian with finance. And they wanted us as a part of their team. And personally, I don't know everything about marketing. I'm very new at this.
Yep.
And I know Ian's very new at this as well. And it's like,
100%.
they're investing in us. And it was kind of interesting to see. But, the time management, basically like picking your battles. Like,
So yeah, let's talk more about
what are we
like,
gonna?
So
What are we doing?
we won't talk about the roles you guys were
Yeah,
offered,
of
but
course.
like we'll talk more in general. Like you mentioned this right away. Like if they were to offer this to you guys 2 years ago when you guys really didn't have anything going on,
Yeah.
you guys would have probably taken the opportunities. But now that you guys are more entrepreneurial and you've set your own thing up, like I said it off camera, but like you guys are all under 25. You guys have all run a store in the middle of a pandemic, been able to innovate and improve and still stay open. There's not many places that are able to say that. So it's like you're getting that real world experience just doing this day in and day out, you know. And do you really want to go and work for somebody else?
No.
That's the thing, because I was saying like, I feel like we all kind of have that entrepreneurial spirit in us, and it's like when you have an opportunity like this, why, you know, it's like why even not entertain other things, but like you have this one opportunity. So for me, it was like, what's the point of working for someone else when I'm already kind of being self-reliant, like you were saying earlier with this whole COVID situation. Like being self-reliant is just like really, really cool, I guess. It's like something I pride myself on. And
Definitely.
I think we all do here. Like we all have some sort of self-reliance in us. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I hate, like I was saying, I hate just having to go into a job at a certain amount, like certain time every day.
Yeah.
You know, things happen, but when you're on employer time, it's like 5 minutes late, you get that deducted, which is fair too. Like when I have to hire people, I want them there on time. But like when you come from working your own place, making your own hours, you know, you set the rules. It's kind of hard to go back and kind of work under somebody else. You know, like when it's a perfect example when I moved. Like when I was in university, lived by myself, had roommates and stuff, all 5 years I was in school. And then I came back home, and it's like living under my mother's roof, pretty much just changing my whole routine. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, we'll do this for a couple months until I can figure out my own thing. But as soon as I can, I'm going to get my own place just because I've lived like that I've lived by myself for 5 years. I appreciate that my mom's like wants to do my laundry and all that other stuff, but I can do that stuff myself. You know? I can cook my own food. I can do that. So it's like, it's kind of, that's where it's a very similar situation. You know, you want a little bit of comfort with the job because you're going to get paid every 2 weeks. You know, you come in, you do your hours, but none of it is yours. You know, like
Exactly.
you're always working for somebody else. You come in the morning, you're looking to do your hours. Where I'd assume when you come in here, it's like, okay, you take a look around, you're like, how do I improve this to be better? You know? So.
And coming in here is just like, me and Ian were talking about it earlier. It's like our sanctuary, man. Come in here, we're at peace almost. Like, know every little nook and cranny in here.
Yep.
Know every little thing that's kind of going on, and it's just feels good.
Yep.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like being in here, the energy is just perfect. So, kind of mixing that up with the same type of work, but at another place that I'm not too familiar with, and I got a boss that's telling me what to do. It's kind of off-putting when we've been doing this for like a year now, consistently.
Yeah, consistently. But
Yeah.
it's like you guys have worked. You've built all the blocks
Exactly.
up. You know, there's no point in ruining it. Like, maybe you wouldn't ruin it, but it's not the same. You know.
Yeah.
Like you guys have devoted all this time, and 40 hours is 40 hours. That's a long time to spend somewhere else.
That is a lot of time.
Yeah. So
That's 5 hours a day, a week,
that's
per week.
There's
That's
7 days
8.
in a week.
That's 8 hours a day. At least a work week.
Yeah, no, for Hector, like he can come in here, which is fair. Like Hector's used to running a 7-day work week. He's not used to running a 5-day, right? Like for him, 40 hours in a week is 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. You know,
The 7 times 5 is
35.
My bad.
Mass for the boy.
My bad. My bad.
yeah. Drink that
That kombucha.
We'll blame it on the one glass of champagne Hector had because he hasn't drank in a little bit.
It's been 2 months, ladies and gentlemen, 2.5.
So
Feeling
that one,
good. I'm
the one
feeling
cup of up, they just got his math messed up.
Got me got me feeling like What's up?
How many hours is in 2.5 months?
Fuck. 7.
We're gonna be here till fucking.
For another 2.5
For another
months. He's
2
gonna
episodes.
He's gonna set a timer.
For another 2
start
episodes.
timer.
We'll be here for another 2 episodes. I'll get back to y'all. Quick maths.
Yeah, we're gonna have our longest episode in history.
There's a reason Ian's the finance guy.
Don't kill me.
Uh,
There definitely is.
No, but 40 hours is a long time, especially when you have
40.
your own project and stuff. Like
That's 5 hours.
moving all that mental thought, like switching it from one to because
the
they're
other.
not like if it was another like thrift shop or like a store that's similar to it, you're not switching gears every time, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna do what I did in that one, and I'm gonna replicate that. But when you're switching to a whole other industry, it's like, okay, you've got to just split your brain up a little bit. You know, I can only do this for this kind of stuff. Sure, some of the stuff translates because it's both marketing and finance, but
Yeah, but there's still like kind of friction there.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
No. And like I was saying to you too, Hector, if you took that 40-hour position,
Smack me in the face.
yeah, no, it's sure, money's nice and all, but you know,
It's never for that
Yeah.
all the time, man.
yeah. So you guys are making enough
Yeah.
money to kind of live your life now.
Exactly.
There's no reason to be greedy and kind of like mess something up that's already working. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. I definitely agree with the decisions.
Yeah.
I would probably make the same decision. I don't really work a job where it's like
Exactly.
I come in 9 to 5 anyways, so
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
the job that I have is like I make my own schedule and stuff like that. So that's the only reason that I have that job because it allows me the flexibility to kind of do other stuff as well too.
That's important. You gotta have that balance of your own free time and a job that you work.
Yeah.
Because you need that free time to kind of keep you sane. Do
If I
things
couldn't
that
leave my
fucking
house for an
love.
hour to go take a walk in the middle of the day,
Yeah.
I'd go crazy. Like honestly, I would go nuts. If I was to have to go back to another work environment where I'm like, okay, in 3 hours I can take 15 minutes off to just clear my head,
Mhm.
I go nuts. Like it's not for me anymore.
Yeah.
There was a time when that was for me because I needed to pay off debts and stuff, but
yeah.
there's time and a place for everything. So I'm
course.
not saying a job is bad in any which way. It's just not for me anymore.
Mhm.
Like a set job where I have to answer to somebody, and like it's great that we're all doing this under 30, and hopefully we take all these skills and kind of keep it going for the rest of our life.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
I would rather hire somebody than be somebody's employee. I want to get to that point where I've got so much work on my plate that I can't handle it all, and I'd have to find somebody else to kind of do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the goal of any entrepreneurial person.
Mm-hmm.
You can only handle so much, and knowing when to kind of draw the line and stuff like that is the number one, probably most important skill, because you're going to burn out if you say yes to
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Because Warren Buffett has like one of these advices that he tells people. It's like write down 30 things or 25
25
things.
things, pick your top 5.
Yeah, and pick your top 5.
Yeah.
Like it makes so much sense because it's like there's those 25 things are probably good things that you'd want to do for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like if you're being realistic with your time and you'll only be able to achieve or maybe do best like the top 5, like we said. So,
No, like even
I think it makes so much sense.
even in my own personal life, we got this. Like I've got my own job. I do stock trading. I do crypto stuff. Like I help my dad with his trucking company here and there. Like I just don't have the time in the day, you know. And I've had buddies be like, "Hey, I'm starting this new project. I know you like basketball. Do you want to write a couple articles or hey man, I'm starting this new business. Can you like come consult for like finance and stuff?" I'm sorry, but I just don't have the time in the day. I would love to help, and I think we all said it. If you hit me up like a year or two ago when I didn't have anything going on, I would have been doing it right now. But you kind of miss the chance, you know. I just don't have the time anymore.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll change in the future, and if it keeps going and you need my assistance in the future, I'd love to help. But
pick your battles.
Pick your battles.
Basically, man.
Yeah.
That's very important too.
Like there's that Jim Carrey movie Yes Man or whatever, and he's just hating his life because he says
yes to
everything, and then something happens and he starts saying being able to say no, and he goes from like one of the worst employees in the office to like being the number one. And like once you're able to tell people no and you kind of set a limit and
set boundaries
and some respect, it's like it will take you much farther than just saying yes to everything. So
definitely that's a big skill to learn.
No, you got to value your own time.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, your mental health, your performance, all that stuff is dependent on how many things you've got going on at one time.
Yeah. You think that's changed for you in the last COVID kind of year?
I've definitely, when COVID started last year, I was at the point where I had 25 things I was interested in, and like doing 10 minutes on one thing, doing 10 minutes on another, and just never getting anything done. And then literally saw one of those Warren Buffett quotes, pick 5 of those things, and it kind of just clicked, you know. Okay, what do I really want? What does a perfect day kind of look like for me? If I wake up in the morning at like 7, do a little bit of stock research until like 9 o'clock, make a trade or two before noon, then start doing my job, then I've got my afternoon free. Kind of that's kind of how I set my day up, you know. And it's what's been working for me, you know. That doesn't necessarily mean it works for everybody. Like my Sundays are filled. I've got a family dinner on Sunday before this, then I come here, then I've got like a meeting after that. But I don't say yes to things because I already know I've got such a full schedule, right? So, and that's just kind of how it has to work out, you know. I've been going crazy not being able to travel, but the reason I like to travel so much is because I can leave all that stuff behind and just kind of be present in that moment, you know. And I've just had to adapt that to doing other things like starting new projects and seeing them to fruition. Because like one huge problem that I had was I'd start a bunch of different things and finish none of them. I'd get like some of them halfway done, some of them 75% done, and you know maybe it needed a couple more extra hours to get done. But I would just never see it to fully fruition. And I think that's one of the things that this year alone has taught me, just because I've had all that extra time where I can be like, oh, I'm going to do it later. I'm like, why do it later? You can do it now. Like, don't put it off. Just finish it and then put the project away and then start the next project.
Yeah.
Right. Don't have 25 things in the air and just be like, well, what am I doing today?
Exactly, yeah.
So, and then once you get those first initial projects done, it makes everything else easier because you're no longer like, oh, I still need to put 15 minutes a day into this. I still need to do that.
Yeah,
so,
for real.
Yeah, time management is probably one of the most important things I gained out of this COVID lockdown, and it sounds like you guys have got the same thing too.
Definitely,
Yeah,
we've learned a lot about that.
Still
get our struggles some days, but hey, man,
you wouldn't be human if you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's part of life, man. You can't enjoy the nice day outside without having a dark night. Like, gotta have the bad with the good.
The darkest of nights. Sometimes
we're gonna get more light now because of the
daylight savings. Shouts out to the sun, man.
Isn't it Pi Day today too?
Pi Day?
Yeah, isn't it?
Oh, 3/14.
Nice, man. We should have had a pie too.
Yeah, pies, some balloons.
Yeah,
you really dropped the ball on this one.
We really fucked up.
Oh, we would have been slept though if we had a pie in this episode.
I was slept last episode from the sushi.
That sushi
and
was
I was burping heavy.
Yeah.
Sushi naps.
Yeah, that sushi. Shout out to Gabe again.
Yeah.
That was fire. I really
straight up. Shout out to Gabe, man.
Yeah. Who's your other buddy you want to shout out?
I wanted to shout out Alexander Tanous. one of our customers here at the store, but he also cleans some of our sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his own little business on the side. And shouts out to you, Tanus. You always do a good job cleaning our shoes. We appreciate you, man, over here at Low End. And he's an avid listener of the pod. Says he listens whenever he's cleaning shoes.
Okay.
So shouts out to Noose, my
Yeah,
dog.
shouts out to
Appreciate
Noose.
you.
Appreciate you, man. Have you guys? That was one thing I want to talk about too.
Mm.
With you guys being stuck at home, have you guys listened to more podcasts? Because I find whenever I'm driving, I pop podcasts on, but I haven't been driving as much. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
For me, less as well.
Yeah,
I'm more of a driving commute type guy.
yeah. I'll put it on when I'm driving around because
Yeah.
it's nice to listen to. Because I've listened to my music so many
Mm-hmm.
times. Like, I know my playlist in and out. Like, if I need it, I'll put it on. But like, I love
Listen to a
podcasts
lot of
because
music.
I do too. Like,
Yeah.
it's just if I'm running around.
Yeah, I'd rather
I'll just
toss
put the
on,
podcast on. If it's a long drive, I'll just listen to it because it just makes the time go by so much faster.
Straight up.
When I have music on, I know like how long a song is, and I like in my brain it just happens automatically. I'm like, I've listened to music for 30 minutes. I've listened to like 9 songs, so that's about like like
About 3 minutes per
but,
song.
Yeah. So, but when I'm listening to a podcast, it's just kind of like, especially if I'm on the 401 or a highway or whatever, it's just
Yeah.
like I'm just more focused on that, and my brain just goes into autopilot driving where you don't really have to be too alert because there's no
Yeah.
other cars in front of you. So
Yeah.
Definitely listen to more podcasts this year, I think.
Yeah.
Because I'm more of an at-home podcast listener rather than on the go.
Yeah.
So, and I was stuck at home, so I was listening a lot.
yeah, it's the market's so diverse, right?
I mean,
so,
that's why Spotify stock is up. That's that's why they're signing all these guys on podcast deals.
Yeah.
When the money's
The money's talking on podcasts, man.
100%.
Shouts out to all the podcasters.
But even
out there,
Netflix too. Like they had a lot of people subscribe to their services. Social media's
Yep.
been up like
Disney's subscriptions have gone through the roof.
exactly like so many of these businesses definitely had a good year as well.
Yep.
Zoom Media.
Yeah.
Zoom Media's like it was never a company before COVID.
Mm.
They released like literally a couple months before COVID was a thing, and then they just blew up.
Yep.
I remember all of last year, me and my one buddy that are into trading were like, "We buying puts on Zoom this week? We buying puts on Zoom?" Luckily, we never bought puts on Zoom because we would have just got our whole. A put is when you buy an option to sell at a certain price,
Yeah.
and it just kept blowing past that price, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, $100 for Zoom. Put sell that. Like next week it's 150. We're like, thank God we didn't buy the put.
That's the craziest part is like they always say like a great thing in marketing is when your business name turns into a verb or a noun or whatever it is.
yeah.
Like Google it
Yeah.
or tissue. Was it tissue paper or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Kleenex.
Kleenex, yeah.
Kleenex is the brand, and people say, "Yo, pass me the
Pass me a
Kleenex."
Kleenex.
But they got it. They had the 2021 version of that. Like, let's jump
Zoom.
on a Zoom.
Yeah. I'm
I'll call
telling
you on
clients, like when I
Zoom,
call
like-
my clients, I'm like, hey, we need to hop on a WebEx so we can talk. I can't talk to you face to face. He's
Yeah.
like, what's WebEx? I'm like, you ever heard of Zoom? He's like, yeah, I know what Zoom is. And WebEx is run by Cisco, which is like a huge, like one of the biggest companies. So like, Zoom just has such a market share, like control of that whole video conference. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
people use Skype, but like that was the original one, and just everybody's on Zoom at this point.
They should have had.
Yeah, yeah.
They should have had a good 2020.
Yeah.
A lot of social media apps have.
Zoom stole the show.
Yeah, Zoom. You can only video chat on one of these systems, though, right? So it's not like you're running 6 different video chats.
Yeah.
It's not like having Facebook, Instagram, and all these different social medias.
Yeah.
You need this tool for one use,
And that's it.
and that's it. We're
Yeah.
not gonna go to Skype if everybody's gonna use Zoom.
Skype's a classic.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So
But
like,
does that make them vulnerable now? Because like once stuff opens back up and we can meet face to face, we won't need those Zoom calls as much as we did this year.
it takes 21 days to build a habit, and we've been in this shit for so long that I think people are accustomed to doing Zoom calls now. Like,
Yeah.
I went to go see my physiotherapist, and he's like, "Yeah, I had an appointment with my financial planner," and he's like, "Why could we never do this before? Like, I don't want you coming into to my house and stuff. Like, I'll just talk to you on my computer. You've got all the stuff there. You don't need it.
Yeah.
You've got everything you need. Like, it just works better that way." So I think some industries, like with your lawyer, with your financial planner, with your financial advisor, like, you're probably going to do more Zoom calls just because especially on mine, I don't have to drive to the client's house anymore. I just send them a link. I save 2 hours of commuting time. Like,
Yeah.
for me, I prefer it. There's clients that don't like doing that because they just don't. That's not how they are. They don't like to buy stuff online. They don't like to deal online. And for those, you just got to make the exception, right?
There's a lot of industries that can definitely get into that. I talked to a nutritionist recently on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Usually, like, you meet in person and go through the whole spiel, but
Yeah,
so
like,
much easier
what's the
on a
difference?
Zoom.
Like,
Yeah,
you just sit at home on your phone,
give her the information you need, and
then she can
just
go
leave
do
it
her
at
work,
that.
right? The only problem is, like, when you have clients and you could just tell they're just not paying attention, right? When you have somebody that's right in front of you, you have to just dedicate more attention. But
that's true.
people have kids, people have all the other stuff going around their house, and you could just tell, right? So it's like, at that point, that's just being good at knowing your person, right? So sure, there's some issues with doing only Zoom calls, but I think it's become a habit for
But that's
life.
the thing. I feel like being at home though is like, I mean, some people do use Zoom in an office and stuff like that. But if you're at home, that's like not the best environment to be meeting with people, in my opinion. I feel like there's like a lot of business stuff that needs to just be done in person. Like, it's
That's very
like
true.
interviewing someone. Like, you get a better feel for someone when you're face to face in a room with them, or anything, any business dealings or conversation.
Yeah.
It could be any social setting, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think it's going to work really well if you've already got like a relationship set up with the person. Where it's like, I already know you. Like, we're just kind of updating stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's going to become, when you meet new clients, you go see them face to face for a bit, and then those yearly reviews or those, catching up, you do it over Zoom. I don't think Zoom's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Their stock might drop a bit when stuff opens up, but I think people have just become so accustomed with Zoom that it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it honestly is super easy just to get on a quick call, like, because we use it here at Low End, where it's like we don't want to meet at the store, or it's late night, we got to talk real quick, or whatever it is. Zoom is like, yo, I'm going to just set up a
real
Zoom.
quick.
Yeah.
And my boxers in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. But, you can't do everything over it. And I don't think it's meant to replace that, but it was a good Band-Aid or, good option for when everybody literally is stuck in the house.
Yeah.
And
Shouts out to Zoom.
yeah, and just on that note, I think it's a good time to take a break.
Yeah, refill the bottles.
Refill the bottles. All right, boys. Second glass. Cheers.
Cheers, Joe. Welcome back to the bottom line. And these fermented drinks are brought to you by Low End Co., where you can get premium vintage, the latest in streetwear, and sneakers for a great price. Follow Low End Co. at @LowEndCo_ on Instagram and at Low End Vintage on Twitter. And check out lowendco.ca for everything. Thanks for the space of recording, Low End Co.
Thanks, boys.
That's us, buddy.
I really thought you didn't know what to say when you made that pause.
No, I just had to fill it in real quick. I was like, wait. All right, I'll just
You
say
can get
everything.
everything
You can get everything, a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Word.
So, what are we sipping?
Yeah,
It's the second bottle.
I really like this one, too. You had a good pick on this one.
This one's 2018 Valpolicella Ripasso from Mara.
Is it fermented?
It's fermented, like all your drinks. Here.
Cesari. I don't know what-
Kombucha, same bottle from last week. Getting used to it.
A lot of mushrooms, a lot of vinegar.
A lot of mushrooms and vinegar. Not the mushrooms I like, though.
Yeah. No psychedelics in there.
Sadly.
It's like,
Maybe next week. Maybe next week.
He's not in
That's-
California yet.
this is what the guy switched the wine out for. The psychedelic fucking kombucha.
Word, it's synergy, fam.
Yeah.
I'm feeling enlightened. Anyways.
You're gonna be on top of the Himalayan mountains one day.
Oh, one
Speaking
day.
of that, my buddy's there right now. He
Word?
actually made
Say
it.
word.
Made it to Nepal. No problems.
Oh, the
You
guy
talked
that,
about him last week,
Yeah,
Okay.
my buddy last week that we
Okay.
were supposed to go to Hawaii with. Yeah, he made it to Nepal.
Nice.
Doing some climbing. He's having a good time out there.
Mm-hmm.
How long has he been there now?
I think it's been 5 days now. So he got
Nice.
there last Tuesday, I think, and then had to do his COVID test. Had to like isolate for 3 days, and then I think he had to do his another COVID test like a couple days after just to make sure he was good, and then good to go.
Not bad.
Just hiking in the Nepal mountains, living his best life. Yeah.
Enlightened.
That's
Yeah.
dope.
Enlightenment.
Shouts
The
out
guy
to
lives
him.
in the Rocky Mountains, so I'm like, why do you need to go all the way to Nepal to fucking hike? And
Yeah.
he's like, I've already hiked all these mountains in the Rocky Mountains.
He's getting sick of it.
It's not that he
Damn.
just wants like in the Rocky Mountains. It's really good to like hike, right? But
Yeah.
you can't like rock climb and
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay. I see.
Okay.
So like he's getting like his like worldwide accreditation to do like rock climbing and like
Yeah.
those, take you up on like those crazy mountains that
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you need to walk up backwards and stuff.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
So like he's not like if you look at him, he's not a huge adrenaline junkie. Like
Yeah.
if you see him, but like I could just tell in
Is
in the inside, he's just a huge adrenaline junkie.
Is this the first location on his? Is it like you unlock every location as you go, or is it you just kind of go?
I would assume it'd be like a unlock locations as you go. Just
Because the
it's
Himalayas
like,
is
yeah.
like that's a great way to start. Like
Well-
I like what's number 10 on that list of rock climbing in the world? Is it
Himalayas is
crazy?
probably up there. Like,
Yeah,
probably
you
top
know what
one
I'm
or two,
saying?
But when you live in the Rocky Mountains, man, like when I visited them a couple years ago, just some of those hikes, like there
Different.
was like there was
Yeah.
a 7-hour hike just to get to the top of the mountain, plus another 3 hours to go down. Like
Wow.
you're spending a whole day doing this. It's not just like let's drive out to Dundas and Hamilton and park there, and we'll walk around the coast and all the other stuff.
Dundas.
Yeah.
in Hamilton. That's hilarious.
Like it's not like one of those, or if you go to Montreal and you go to Mount Royal, like
Yeah.
and you climb all the way up to the top just to get a picture. It's not like one of those. Like you're
Yeah,
actually
this is-
you're actually putting in the
Yeah.
work.
Definitely.
So happy for him. Happy everything's good.
Yeah. Shouts
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Shouts out to him.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'm glad that what he's pretty much just like, man, I've had a whole year of just sitting in my
Mhm.
house. Like I need to do something. Like, and I'm like, you're literally about to go to Nepal where there's gonna be an India-China war going on. I don't care. Like, I'm like, bro, you're literally gonna get held hostage by some of these Chinese guys because they have such a problem with Canada right now. Like,
Oh, yeah?
Jack
they're
Ma,
gonna
yeah.
find out you're Canadian and hold you. He's like, bro, I don't care. I'll be on the news. Like, it'll be fine.
Him and Jack Ma.
Him and Jack Ma.
Free
In the same room?
Freeing the folk.
Wait, Young Ma?
Oh, Young
ain't
Ma
there
been
yet.
feeding the. She's
Still
climbing
in
the
Brooklyn.
mountains as we speak.
Still in Brooklyn Mountains.
The Brooklyn
Skyscrapers.
Mountains. Oh, man.
And Tim's?
And Tim's. Summer, winter, fall, every day.
Every day. That's like J-Bo.
Fucking J-Bo.
All right.
We went. Speaking of J-Bo, we went out to birthday dinner for a birthday dinner yesterday.
Yeah.
I told James, I'm like, yo, dress nice. James like, all right, bet. I haven't got to dress nice in like a year.
Mhm.
I'm like, tell Jason too. He's like, all right, I told Jason.
Yeah.
And I told my brother too to dress nice. My brother was wear a white T-shirt and some jeans, and I pull up in like a full jacket and a tie and everything. He's like, okay, let me go change.
It's a Radu move for sure.
Radu, Jason, they both like
Yeah.
me and James were both wearing like nicer clothes.
Uh-huh.
We sat on one side of the table.
Yeah.
Radu and Jason were wearing like just
White
regular
tees and jeans?
Street
white
clothes?
tees, yeah, street clothes. They're on the other side.
Oh man, respects to them. Shouts out Radu and Jason real quick.
That's funny.
Those are the guys. But what are we getting into? NFTs.
Yeah. So Joe, tell me more about the
Straight up.
$69 million NFT that just sold.
Come on, frame. Come here.
Roll on in here.
Come here. Let him see your face. Joe does have a face, ladies and gentlemen.
Reveal yourself.
Reveal.
I'll talk into the mic because Raz wasn't doing that earlier.
Reveal yourself.
With the shots, eh?
Introduce
So-
yourself.
I'm Joe.
We
Man.
already introduced him at the start.
Dude,
fam.
I make the show. Anyway,
We all make the shot, Joe.
yeah, but like I actually make it, you know.
He creates the
You guys do
show.
the talking, I do everything else.
Yeah.
All right. So this artist named Beeple, not sure his real name. I read it the other day, but I don't remember. Been a digital artist for I think like probably 2 decades almost, and for the last 13 years he's been making new digital piece of art every day. And since NFTs have been released, he's just been selling them like mad, and he's like the #1 seller, highest bid NFTs like in the whole situation. And so he just sold one NFT for $69 million, and it's a collage of every single piece of digital art he's made for the last 13 years, which adds up to 5,000 pieces of art. And
Damn.
yeah, the dude is like ruling
Yeah.
this whole NFT war right now, and he's like really like pushing other people to resell his work. Like, he's like totally content. He's made his millions. Like he's like, I want to see like how much you guys can make off of this. Like
That's sick.
so he's a really cool guy. Anyway, it's been real.
Thank you, Joe.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's your opinions on that, guys?
Who's gonna beat that record, and like what is it gonna be for? If he sold his 5,000th painting like collage for
I think the
69
only thing that could
millions.
top that is probably like if you get Picasso's actual ear and put that as an NFT.
Yeah.
That's probably the only thing that
That'd
could.
be way more. Listening to a podcast and it was talking like, it's like, man, like that's probably more than like an original Van Gogh.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
when they looked up how much a Van Gogh was, it was 250 million.
No,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
go
yeah.
for a lot.
Yeah,
Those go for I was apparently like I was reading something. I think a few of Basquiat's painting were about to be sold a few weeks ago, and they were going for around like $50 to $80 million. So that's pretty crazy that NFT, like something that we've just kind of recently
Heard about?
heard about, and some guy selling like 69, sold it for $69 million.
Mm-hmm.
I respect it. Good for you.
Straight
man.
up.
Hey, if you can get a buyer for $69 million because he thinks your art's going to be that good, he's not buying this thing unless he thinks he could sell it for more.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. I read an article, and the guy that bought it said he believes it's going to be worth billions in a few years.
Yeah, and like if this guy takes the $69 million that he made off this NFT, he's already like super focused on his art anyways. Imagine how much more this $69 million could actually add to his production value. Like
It's gonna be crazy.
he's gonna have like the best lighting, the best whatever you need to get done at this point. So the art's just gonna get better and better. So that guy's $69 million investment not only guarantees that like he's gonna have a piece of art that's gonna last forever, but that money that he gave him is pretty much funding his work to even get better and better, which will automatically
Create more.
increase the price of that because his value, like the artist's value, has gone up too. So it's like it's a crazy world we're living in. Like $69 is
Do you think he would break his own? Like, do you think he could sell something that's worth more than that?
100%.
Yeah, for
100%. Like once you've done it once,
You can do it
you
again.
do it again even bigger.
Easy.
The other
Yeah, I
interesting
mean,
thing about
yeah.
that $69 million thing is that it was actually up for sale on like an actual like fine art website and sold for real dollars, not ETH. Like
Not
yeah?
ETH, like real.
Oh, really?
still
Real
not
USD?
token, but
Yeah.
it was sold for USD.
That's crazy.
So it was
Yeah, so Joe was saying it sold for real USD compared to ETH.
Yeah. So like,
Interesting.
so they skipped that whole phase of let's transfer the money into Ethereum and then buy it with Ethereum, and then that guy's transfer back to USD. Skip the whole process, but at the end of the day, the NFT was what was bought, right? So you're going to need to know about crypto for that. You may not at this point need to transact in crypto to buy it, but if you can get a broker that is willing to sell an NFT for you, you could sell it in Canadian, American, crypto, euros, whatever. At the end of the day, the underlying asset is that NFT that guy sold. So I love to see it, man. I think with NFTs and DeFi, I think we talked about DeFi in private before. Have I talked to you about
No.
DeFi? Okay, so DeFi is like why crypto. It's a bigger reason why crypto is getting like a lot of notoriety right now. Things like Ethereum is going to like Ethereum 2.0, which is like they're trying to change to a proof of stake model. I'll explain what proof of stake means, but first I have to explain what proof of work means. Ethereum before used to do all their transactions on like a proof of work method. So I know I've told you guys I've got like an Ethereum mine at home,
Yeah.
and every single time I do like transactions on the network, I get paid out for that, right? Because my computer did the work and did the process the transaction, right? So I'd get paid a little bit, and then now they're looking to switch that to a proof of stake where the money gets generated by people kind of like staking their coins. So you're making like an APR or like a dividend, right?
Okay.
So that is DeFi in itself. It's decentralized finance. So you're now becoming like kind of the bank. So I was explaining this to like a couple people earlier, but like when I make a trade on RBC, I pay $10 to buy a stock, right? And I pay $10 to sell a stock.
Yep.
RBC gets those $10 because they're the broker that puts it into place. They keep it. They keep the $20 when I do the full trade, right? Now, with DeFi, people that are staking, think of them as the RBC because they're the part owners of that network, and then they get a little bit of every single transaction.
Okay.
Because they're the ones kind of putting this network in place, right? So, decentralized finance essentially is taking finance out of these bigger banks and allowing an average person to have ownership of like a transfer system.
Okay.
So you now get portions of every fee that gets generated on this network. It makes you residual income every day. My goal is to make $100 a day passively, USD. With that, I could pay all my bills plus more, and then just use the money that I get from my income to just kind of reinvest into my savings accounts and my investments accounts and stuff like that. And yeah, we're at a new age here where it's like, just being in these coins, you're making at a bank, you make, if in a good year, you're making 2%. I'm in some coins right now that are giving me like 1,000% every month.
Damn.
Yeah.
So basically, that they're like it's people replacing the banks basically, or like
Yep.
because
You're now becoming the network providers, right? So banks and financial institutions put in billions and billions of dollars to make these networks, right? With the hopes that at the end of the day, they're going to make...
They're the middleman?
They're the middleman, right? And now you're becoming the middleman, where you're, instead of having one entity put up billions and billions of dollars, they go to hundreds and thousands of people and be like, put in $1,000. You'll be a 1% owner of the network, you know? And then you get all the fees and everything else. We split amongst all the owners. It's a way to decentralize it and not all have it in one specific area. And it allows everybody to kind of get a little piece of the pie. So it's really interesting. Do you guys have any questions? Like, I see you're looking at me like you have no idea what the fuck's going on.
G.
Yeah. So where do you want to start with this thing? Because it blew my mind too when I first heard about it.
So I'm trying to grasp what it actually is. So you're the bank that does the transaction? Is that what I'm...
So
getting?
let's just say there's a little small router, right? Like somebody in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And what you're kind of doing is you're acting as like a swap. So you provide liquidity to a pool. So I provide US dollars and I provide this coin to allow people to buy and sell, right? I'm making a market.
So you're the middleman?
I'm the market maker in this situation.
Okay.
So I don't really care about the price of the coin because I'm going to keep it in there. I treat these as like dividend stocks because dividend stocks pay me a yield all the time. And I don't really care about the underlying price because I know every month or every day I'm going to get $100 a day, let's say, right? And then I kind of keep my coins staked in there. They're like, think of them as like, you know what, I'm just providing these to the network so they could use. We talked about shorts a couple episodes ago. Shorts work because there's these market makers that have stock and they don't really care what the price is because they're going to hold that stock for a while. So they'll let you borrow it from them to short it or whatever they want to do because they're just worried about making those fees. And at the end of the day, they're going to have to hold that stock regardless. So as long as they keep $1 million, whatever their quantity is, they don't really care. They'll lend it out to short or they'll make options on it. They'll make yield in a way. But now it kind of allows everybody to do that because to do that in the stock market, you need millions, if not billions of dollars to be a market maker. You know, you've got to be able to hold and buy. Like, let's say if the price is dropping on a stock, you as a market maker, your job is to kind of stabilize a market, right? You're supposed to go in there and buy $1 million worth of this stock if it drops to $10-15 or whatever. Like that's kind of your role, and then you get paid in either making call options, put options, allowing people to short your stock, stuff like that. You're making money on like the network working, and now that kind of allows every single person to kind of do that.
How quickly is this growing? Like
exponentially. It started on Ethereum, which is where the NFTs started too.
Yeah.
There's these kind of coins called like Sushi Stake. It originally started with Uniswap, which then forked off into a couple other things. But now so Ethereum's its own blockchain. This is the whole blockchain thing is like super, super complicated. And I understand why the average person doesn't get into it because it just doesn't.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to
Yeah.
dig in.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So Ethereum, Binance, all these coins have like their own specific blockchain, which is kind of like a ledger. Like you did this transaction here. If you want to think of it, it's like your bank checking account. You know, you spend this money here, you got debited here, you got credited here. It's kind of like a huge ledger, right? Like that's what essentially a blockchain is, a list of transactions that have happened on the network. That way you can never go back and kind of change anything. It's already set in stone. And once, let's say I send you $100 at, time is it 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, that's locked in on the blockchain, and that's never going to change. I sent you $100 at this point, then you send that $100 to somebody else. There's like a little tracking going on there, right? So that's what these blockchains are kind of doing. Each coin has their own, and Ethereum started it, and now it's bigger on other networks as well too. So there's a Binance network that I do a lot of my DeFi on, and yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, but essentially DeFi as a whole is you're now becoming those market makers. You're investing your money into these projects. If you've ever heard of an IPO, like you're now becoming those initial seed funders into these new projects, and you get rewarded for your risk. Like some of these coins can go down to zero, but that's why they give you such crazy returns, because you're taking that risk on head on, right? So it's really cool. It's really interesting. And if you guys want to learn more about it, shoot us a comment. We'll make more videos on it. It's a huge thing to grasp, but
I gotta learn some more about that.
Me too.
Yeah, man. Like
Well.
there's guys like in my crypto group that in January they started with like 14 G's. They're like 350 now. Like it's been a month and a half.
Just off DeFi?
Just off DeFi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this?
I got into this stuff like about a month ago. I've made a couple G, like
Yeah.
10, 15 G's this month, which is nothing to shrug off. But like,
Yeah.
just ridiculous gains are getting made in this stuff, man. People are becoming millionaires on this stuff pretty much daily. So, love to sit down with you guys. Well, I actually want to talk to you, Joe. I want to make like, you know, those videos, like those course packs. We'll sit down and make a course pack. I'll sell it for like $150, and then just, you know, do it that way. Yeah.
The DeFi courses with
Joe Steiner and Raz?
Pastor Raz.
That could be our little bonus for all our
Patreons?
Patreon followers. You know, free $150 course for every Patreon follower. I like it. Yeah. Let's work it out.
We'll keep that one in the tuck, ladies and gentlemen, for sure.
For real.
Yeah. Any other questions about DeFi or NFTs or? I know it probably.
DeFi is very overwhelming for me right now.
But that's the thing. I feel like it's
the
like
wheels are turning.
like you said before, blockchain in general is just like such a huge, because everything is based off blockchain, and blockchain itself is such a huge topic or a huge area. So it's like you have to take the time to kind of learn everything. You know what I mean? And then like Bitcoin, we kind of heard it a few years ago, but now we're hearing about NFTs and we're hearing about this and that, DeFi's and all of that. It's like it could easily be like you just gotta take your time and learn it.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what I'm
like we talked about on the previous episode. You don't have to be good at everything. As long as you find one niche that you're interested in and you know about that, you're gonna do fine. Whether it's, we were talking about this with the ETFs, you know. You don't have to know every single industry, but if you know fashion, buy fashion stocks, or like you can get rich in whatever you want. You just have to be a market expert on that. You know, you got to know more than the average person, because that 2, 3, 10% difference in knowledge might equate to like a 1, 2, 3% gain yearly. You know, just from having a little bit more knowledge, and then that 1, 2, 3% you're gonna make, as opposed to the average guy, is gonna compound up to like a huge amount down the road. You know.
Yeah, for real.
Knowledge is power, but application is power that's actually used, you know.
And managing your
Scriptures.
time.
Yeah.
You know, as we were saying
Scriptures.
earlier. Yeah. Focus on a few things that you're best
Yeah.
at and
get to it.
yeah.
No, it was a good episode. Like I think everything kind of
Straight
tied
up.
back into it.
Straight up.
Like what we talked about at the beginning literally just tied right back into the end here.
Exactly.
You can only focus
Yeah.
on so many things. Focus on what you know, and then add 1 or 2 more things you're interested in and get good at those. And just keep rinsing and repeating.
Yeah, even when we were talking about Jay-Z last week, I remember you said he started off focusing on his music first, and then he kind of used that. He leveraged that to build his other brands and buy into other businesses. Like, it's kind of all comes back to the same thing of, like, managing your time. You only have so much, like, if you talk about resources and, like, time and money and stuff like that, you only have so much of it. So it's, like, have to try to spend it as wisely as possible. But time is, like, obviously the thing you don't get back. So
There's a reason the rich get rich, because the rich understand that time is the one thing you're not going to get back. So they're willing to pay for time. People are willing to give up. Regular people are willing to give up their time so they can buy things. You know, we were talking about this before. Why go work 40 hours for somebody? Great, you make some more extra money, but what are you going to do with that extra money? You're going to go spend it on
bullshit.
You know, where the average rich person will take that income, invest it into other assets that produce more income, and then they go hire people to do jobs that they don't want to do because it's not worth their time.
Yep.
So
that's great. Yep. That's great. And with that,
I think that's it.
Yeah, man. Talked about a lot of great topics. I think we kind of just summed it up, to be honest. Just in those last few seconds there. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us here. If you don't already subscribe to us on YouTube at The Bottom Line Podcast, follow us on Instagram as well at The Bottom Line Pod. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Anchor. And you can also find us on Apple Podcasts.
Anywhere you can get your podcast, we're there.
Everywhere you can listen.
Yeah. So make sure you tune in. Thank you guys again. Really enjoyed that first bottle of champagne that we had for Raz's B-Day celebrations.
Good.
What are we rating that one?
It's pretty good. I'll give this one like an 8 out of 10. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. It's a nice little... I like the bottle. The bottle is nice for sobraging, which is what we did here. It's got the nice little lip. It was good for that. Champagne was good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
I did it as well. First drink of alcohol in 2.5 months, so
it was good.
Super fire.
And then what'd you have there? The masa. Would you like? I like this one too. This was really good too.
I've had this one before.
I think you're in this camera over here.
You just do that.
Oh,
shoot. Yeah, you forgot about that.
Forgot about that.
All right, Ian, you're good.
Yeah. So we had the Valpolicella Ripasso from 2018. It's a Mara Cesari type of thing.
What would you rate it?
I give it I enjoyed it. I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, it was good. It was a little sour for my taste. I'll give it like a 7.
I'd agree with 7.
Yeah, 7.5. We've had better. We've had worse.
Yeah. I definitely enjoyed the champagne a bit more. That was just the presentation, the taste, everything.
The presentation was the biggest. Shouts out, Raz.
Yeah. That always plays a factor in it. Like, yeah, the show around it.
Yeah, that's part of the enjoyment, right?
Exactly.
The art.
Yeah. All right. See you next week, boys.
All right. Yeah.
Of course.
Cheers.
Cheers.